Pokemon. It's every kid's dream to go on an adventure and become the greatest Pokemon master of all time. And me? Well, I'm just like the others. We are going to attempt a Pokemon Nuzlocke Randomizer. The rules are simple. You can only catch one Pokemon per route. Any Pokemon that faints is gone forever. You can only use Pokeballs to capture Pokemon, which means no Great Balls, no Ultra Balls, and definitely no Lick Bubble. And on top of that, every Pokemon is randomized.
What?
To begin our journey, I got to choose between 3 starter Pokemon: a Mihawk, a Wailord, and a Blastoise? A Blastoise? You know which one I'm going for. After choosing our Pokemon, we get to fight against our rival with a Hoppip? Damn, I didn't know this challenge was that easy. After getting through the forest and stumbling across some water Pokemon, I came across the Mewtwo, which I had to kill because I already encountered the first Pokemon of that route. After arriving at Pewter City, I caught a Donphan on Route 2 and decided I was ready to face Brock. After defeating Brock's Gengar and Snorlax, I headed right to defeat more trainers and ended up meeting a Feraligatr that I caught on Route 3. Look at that gator cat. While healing my Pokemon at the Poke Center, I met up with the Magikarp trader that traded me 500 coins for a Typhlosion? What kind of luck is this? After this, I went to Mount Moon and caught a Slackoth and found a family of Mews, a Tyranitar, and a Sceptile. Also, a random nerd had a Rayquaza?
Huh?
Ugh, thank God it's level 12. Moving on, we grabbed the Helix fossil and made our way down to Cerulean City, in which we fought a rival again, but this time he had a Dragonite and a Groudon? Am I supposed to start thinking this is normal? After passing by the Golden Gate Bridge and encountering Pokemon that I didn't really want, I fought against Misty, the water-type gym leader, who had a Grovyle? That ain't no water type. And a Golduck. Almost lore accurate. After an easy smash, I went through Route 25 to face a kid who had a casual Mew and a girl who totally had the hots for me after I beat her boyfriend's Entei. Now I'm starting to understand why she liked you so much. Going through the next area, I caught an Electabuzz on Route 6, but accidentally lost my Feraligatr. Ugh, sacrifices must be made, I guess. Turning to Route 11, I stumbled across the legendary Zapdos. Oh my god, if I get this Pokemon, this is an easy win. After spamming Pokeballs and a click, I accidentally quit the game, losing 2 hours of gameplay plus the Zapdos and the Electabuzz. Get in the ball, come on. Oh! I quit the game! And I forgot to save! Oh my god! Well, luckily as an unemployed idiot, I grinded back to the same spot that I was, catching a Skarmory, Hypno, and Weeping Bell. Finally, after arriving to Vermilion City, I was able to catch a ride at SS Anne to beat up some old US Marines and caught a Larvitar in the water. Finishing these noobs up, I faced against the Vermilion City gym leader, Lieutenant Sarge, with the Solrock, Cradley, and a Ladybug, which I easily knocked them out. By the way, who even likes this Pokemon? Being the wonderful celebrity that I am, I received a bicycle voucher from the chairman and got a bicycle. Woo! My gamer girl feet were hurting from all that walking. Going down Route 10, I stumbled across a robot, which I caught and went through the rock tunnel without Flash because this is a kid's game. Only noobs need Flash to get through this tunnel, right? How can I possibly get lost? Oh my god, it's a Wailord! Wait, isn't this like 47 feet tall or something? How did it fit in this cave? Hey look, it's Lavender Town. I swear, this place always gives me the creeps when I was a child. Probably because there's a lot of death and stuff here. Oh. Going through the spooky Pokemon Tower, I faced against my rival who had a Jirachi? Since when did you get this? An Abra? An Articuno? A Dodrio? And a Fortress, which is apparently a bug Pokemon? How does this even look like a bug? Realizing I needed a scope to even see the Pokemon ghost, I went through Route 8 and caught a Pidgeot. Ooh! Biking my way to Celadon City, I found a nice patch of grass and encountered a Regice. Please, an ice Pokemon would be a perfect addition to my team. Sacrificing my Weeping Bell, I got it to low HP with stun and threw a couple balls at it. And then it blew up. This is gonna be the biggest banger ever. No! Oh my god! No! Oh my god! Wow, am I really that bad to be with? You think I'm some abusive trainer or something? This Reggie Ice really said, Pomery? Aw, hell nah! I'd rather unalive myself than be on Pomery's team! After sulking inside a random building in the city, I decided to visit a house on top of a building and received an Eevee. Wait, no. A Venusaur! When God taketh, he giveth. Since I was in Celadon City, I decided to face Erica, the grass gym type leader with a Venomoth, Feebas, and Porygon. Luckily, this was an easy defeat and I headed towards Rocket Hideout where I smashed a bunch of Team Rocket members and faced against Boss Giovanni with a Cascoon, Skarmory, and a Cacturne, which were really weak against my Typhlosion. Thank gosh for this Typhlosion, am I right? Look, he randomly dropped a Silph Scope. Now I can finally see those goddamn ghosts in the tower. Going back to the tower, I spotted a Dratini which I caught and faced against the ghost, which revealed itself to be a Marowak? I mean Steelix. What? I went up to the tower to defeat some stragglers, saved Mr. Fuji, and received a Pokeflute for use later. Going back to Saffron City, I went to Route 16 to play the Pokeflute and ended up catching a Girafarig. Flying back to Lavender Town, I went down Route 12 to fight a couple and played the Pokeflute on the Pokemon blocking the path and ended up facing against a Suicune. Wow! After spending over 30 minutes hitting the Suicune to low health and using sleep powder, I finally caught it after using around 65 Pokeballs. Yippee! My first ever legendary. And look, it's Quirky. Oh my god, so pick me. After facing some trainers running around on bikes, I arrived at Fuchsia City and faced against Koga, the poison-type trainer with a Houndoom, Crobat, Slowbro, and an Aerodactyl, which was actually a pretty tough fight since Crobat kept using Confusion on me and my Pokemon just kept pounding itself to death. By the way, why do the Pokemon trainers here have a lollipop and a whip? Since I was in Fuchsia City, I decided to stop by the Safari Zone, which I found a Mewtwo, which ran away after one turn. I also received Surf. Going to the next gym, I faced some black belt martial artists and grabbed an Eevee. Finishing the dojo nearby, I heard some maidens screaming in the distance. Who could that possibly be? Sounded like it was coming from this building. Looking around Silph Co, I faced a bunch of Team Rocket members and started clearing up the whole building. Man, are these company buildings really 14 floors? While clearing up the building, I got to fight against my rival with a Raichu, Aaron, Gorbis, Wishcash, and a Geodude, and I also got a Tropicus from a nearby helper. Going straight to the top floor, I faced Giovanni again, this time with a Pichu, Gyarados, Raichu, and Lugia. This is like the third time I've seen you. Is this destiny putting us together or something? Finishing him off, the maiden that was screaming actually turned out to be an old man, the president of Silph Co. Damn it, no maidens again? Well, I got Blue Ball, but at least I got a Master Ball. Too bad I can't use it though since I'm doing an only Pokeball challenge. Exploring the rest of the city, I decided to face off against Sabrina, the Psychic Trainer, with a Tentacool, Blaziken, Victreebel, and Sudowoodo. Luckily for me, I won, so I don't have to stay as a doll for the rest of my life. Flying back to my hometown, I decided to take a sail to search for the One Piece and found Cinnabar Island. Close enough. Going to the Pokemon lab, I gave my Helix fossil to the important doctor, and it turned out to be a Claydol. Wow, all that for a Claydol? Clearing the Pokemon Mansion and discovering the secrets of Mewtwo, I decided I was ready to face Blaine, the Fire-type trainer, who had a Nosepass, Kirlia, Shuckle, and Haunter. Oh my, this was a very tough fight. Although the Nosepass, Kirlia, and Shuckle were easy to defeat since I used Surf from my Suicune and switched out to my Typhlosion for maximum damage, I had an extremely tough time with the Haunter. Although I used Suicune's Bite Attack, which did tons of damage, Blaine's Haunter used Destiny Bond, which instantly killed both of our Pokemon. What is this? No, no, no! No, 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 no! Oh my god, no! Oh my gosh, my Suicune is dead. Rest in peace to my only legendary. Well, At least I have Bill to comfort me and invite me to one island, that small island in the far south. I really needed a vacation after this. Oh, it seems like Bill's PC isn't working. Well, I guess we're gonna have to travel to 2 Island to fix his PC and deliver this meteorite to the guy that works in that sketchy game corner. Looking for the game corner guy, I decided to swim around the islands and found another Zapdos. Thank you, universe. This time I will not shut off the game. Getting him low and sleepy, I took around 20 minutes throwing around 40 Pokeballs and I finally got it. Another legendary for me to replace. I mean, it's not like Pokemon are replaceable though. Going to 3 Island, I found the game corner guy's house. Only this time, his house is empty. Where could he have possibly gone? Oh, he's right outside his house. Except that there's a bunch of gooners after him. Get it? Biker goon? Biker gooners? Okay, never mind. After beating all the gooners, I decided to go around Berry Forest in 3 Island and found a lost girl named Lostelle who was being bullied by a Crawdon. To be fair, I would be scared of this weird looking thing too. After putting the Crawdon back in his place, I brought Lostelle back to her father, which turned out to be the sketchy game corner guy that loves meteorites. After giving the meteorite to Lostelle's father, I got a moonstone. Yay! Boating back to 1 Island, I met up with Bill again to find out he's finished with the PC job, and we head back to Kanto. That was super fun. Going back to Kanto, I decided to spin my way down to the Vermilion City gym leader. Giovanni? Well, at this point, it is destiny. Hey, don't blame me. Dating is hard these days. This time, Giovanni had a Heracross, Wailord, Pidgey, and Ho-Oh? Of course the last gym leader has a Ho-Oh. Thank gosh we have a Blastoise to replace their Suicune. Although my water type moves were super effective against the Ho-Oh, he kept using Recover over and over again. Finally, after spamming Water Pulse, I was able to beat Ho-Oh with a critical hit. Oh, and he had Electric too, which was really easy against my Donphan. And that's it! I have received the last badge from Giovanni himself and Earthquake, which is a super OP move. Now, I can finally go through Victory Road to become the ultimate Pokemon Master I was destined to be. Going towards Victory Road, I surprisingly stumbled across my rival, who wanted to battle again. Guess the last beating wasn't enough, huh? This time, my rival had 6 Pokemon. The first Pokemon, Nuzleaf, was pretty easy to beat with my Typhlosion since it was a grass type. Unfortunately, his next Pokemon was a Ursaring, which surprisingly almost one-shot my Typhlosion from 1 slash attack. Switching to my Blastoise, I got him pretty low and tackled him down. Up next was an Ivysaur, in which I used my Typhlosion again to do max damage. Next was an Arbok, which I unfortunately had no psychic moves, so I just blew him up with fire. Up next was Grimer, which sludge bombed my Typhlosion, causing him to die in 1 hit. He one-shot me. How does a Grimer one-shot a Typhlosion? I mean, yeah, he's like 4 levels ahead of me, but what? How does that even happen? Switching to my Venusaur, I finally knocked down the Grimer. Now it's time for Arcanine. Luckily for me, I have Blastoise, which finished off his last Pokemon. Realizing I at least needed a fire move since I couldn't catch any more Pokemon, I made my Dragonair use Fire Blast. Nice. A good substitute since I lost my last Pokemon. Deciding I was ready to face the Elite Four and become the Pokemon Master, I decided to pass through Victory Road, defeating trainers and finally arriving at Route 23 to the Indigo Plateau. We did it! Now all we need to do is face the Elite Four. Prepping my final Pokemon for battle, I decided to train all my Pokemon up to level 60 inside Victory Road Cave and buy some strong moves from the Celadon department store. With all my preparations finished, I now had a stacked team, with my final team being a Blastoise since I had since the beginning, a Venusaur that I got from the top of the building, a Zapdos during my travels to 1 and 2 Island, a Dragonite which evolved from my Dragonair which I caught at the spooky Pokemon Tower, a Tyranitar which evolved from my Larvitar from the water, and a Skarmory from which I caught after accidentally quitting the game and grinding back. Now I'm ready! Starting off with the first of the Elite Four, we got to face against Lorelei, the Ice Trainer with 5 Pokemon. The first Pokemon was a Horsey, in which I used my Venusaur and Giga Drained it to death. The second Pokemon turned out to be a baby Dratini, in which I used my Dragonite's Dragon Claw, as dragon moves are super effective against other dragons. There's something that just doesn't feel right about beating a baby form of you. The next Pokemon was a Persian, in which I used my Blastoise to bite him down. The fourth Pokemon was a Beldum, in which I used my Dragonite's Flamethrower to do super effective damage. Lastly, Lorelei threw out her Abra, which I used Blastoise Bite to knock it down since dark moves are great against Psychic. Woohoo! Our first trainer done. Just 3 more to go. Walking towards the second room, we faced Bruno, the fighting style trainer with 5 Pokemon. His first Pokemon was a Poliwrath, in which I used my Venusaur to chop him down with Giga Drain. His second Pokemon was Smoochum, in which I used my Blastoise Bite to knock her out. Every time I see this Pokemon, it reminds me of when I used to play the Pokemon channel and stretch with Smoochum every morning before school. Has anyone else ever played this? The third Pokemon was a Kecleon, in which I just used my Dragonite's Flamethrower and Wing Attack to beat him up. The fourth Pokemon, Charmeleon, was insta-wiped from my Blastoise Surf. Bruno's last Pokemon, Mightyena, was easily wiped from my Blastoise. Now for the next challenge. To the third room, we meet Agatha, the psychic trainer with 5 Pokemon. Her first Pokemon was a Walrein, which, oh my gosh, imagine facing this first in battle. Using my Dragonite and thinking it was an Ice-Water type, I used a Flamethrower, which instantly did no damage. Completely forgetting that Ice is one of the only types that are terrible against dragons. The Walrein used Blizzard, which instantly killed my Dragonite. Oh, great. Now I have no Pokemon with no fire moves left on my team. Deciding I needed something a little bit better, I switched to my Zapdos and used Thunderbolt to electrocute him down. Thank goodness. The second Pokemon was a Shroomish, in which I used my Zapdos to peck and yoink him out. The third Pokemon was a Latios. Okay, we're screwed. Switching to my Tyranitar, I used Crunch to get him to low HP. Unfortunately, Agatha switched out her Latios and pulled out a Skarmory, in which I don't have any fire moves left, but I do have a Zapdos. Switching to my Zapdos, I used Thunderbolt, in which I one-shot him. Next up was the same Latios that I just fought. Closing the gap, Agatha threw some full restores, but it just wasn't enough, and I took down the Latios. Agatha's last Pokemon ended up being a Teddiursa, in which I used my Tyranitar's Earthquake and Crunch to finish it off. Thank gosh it's not a Ursaring. 1 more trainer left to go. Only this time, we have 5 Pokemon left. Walking down to the next room, we meet the last of the Elite Four, Lance the Dragon Trainer, with 5 Pokemon. His first Pokemon was a Vibrava, which honestly looks so bug-like, but apparently it's a dragon since it's a dragonfly? I kinda see what it's getting at, but why is it not a bug? Using my Blastoise Ice Beam, I one-shot it. His second Pokemon, Plusle, was a pretty easy fight as I used my Tyranitar's Earthquake. The third and fourth Pokemon was a Tentacle and a Corphish, in which I used my Zapdos Thunderbolt to easily knock them down. His final Pokemon that he had was a Moltres. Wow. Luckily for me, I have a Blastoise, which easily extinguishes his flames with easy Surf. Yay! We did it! Or so I thought I did. Turns out my rival won ahead of me again, and now I have to face him and become the #1 Pokemon Master. Walking into the final and last room, I spotted my rival, the Pokemon League champion. It's time for our final fight. His first Pokemon was a Bayleaf, in which I used Zapdos Peck Attack to do maximum damage. Not bad. The second Pokemon released was a Wigglytuff. Switching to my Blastoise, I used Surf and Bite to inflict tons of damage and made him flinch 4 times. The third Pokemon was a Minun, in which I used Earthquake just like I did with the Plusle last fight. The fourth Pokemon was a Tyrogue, a fighting Pokemon. Using Zapdos, I used a peck to do a super effective critical hit. The fourth Pokemon was a Swablu, in which I used Zapdos Thunderbolt to shoot him down. And his last Pokemon was a Rapidash, in which I easily knocked it out with Surf. Wait, we're done! We're done! No, that can't be! You beat me at my best! After all that work to become a league champ. Woo! I did it! I have beaten my rival and became the Pokemon League champion. Going into the Pokemon Hall of Fame, I now get to register my team into the Hall of Famers. Finishing off the game, I ended up with my last remaining team. A Blastoise, Venusaur, Zapdos, Dragonite, which is it, Tyranitar, and Skarmory! And that's it! I finally finished Pokemon Fire Red. If you like this video, please subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. Bye!